I got a random meeting on my calendar. I feel like, and there's a bunch of them on this other lady's calendar. I hope I'm not getting fired. I will die. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I asked, who I think you know, to join us for this call. She is our HR representative for us to refocus the agency to an independent agency, and in doing so, we've initiated a buyback of it. Unfortunately, as you may know, the lack of growth and the decline in our client revenue has negatively impacted our business beyond what we can sustain. And it's forced us to make what are very difficult decisions to eliminate roles within the agency. And this includes the elimination of your role, making today your last day. Please know that it was a very difficult decision. You may be for contributions over the last couple of years, and we have utmost respect and gratitude for what you've done and what you've given. At this point, I will turn it over to you so she can take you through some of the next steps.
Email meeting up.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Heather. I wish you the best.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
Bye.
So TikTok's basically LinkedIn now, but with crying. People are getting laid off left and right. Some are getting laid off after 10 good years at a company, and the people are freaking out, saying, I gave my best, my life for 10 years to this company, and finding out that the company didn't care about them. Some are realizing that after moving their families across the country, they no longer have this access to this job. And others are getting laid off after training their replacement. So we're diving into this video, checking out some of the people's reactions. Some are saying it's God's plan. Others are freaking out at what is going to happen. Let's get into it.
I busted my ass and I was just laid off. These companies do not care about us. They want us to give us a 2-week notice, but yet can just fire us and ruin our lives on the spot any day that they choose. I have a 2-year-old son, no savings, which is my fault, and it doesn't fucking matter. So now I have to go back on the job hunt, and I have to get a work from home job because I have a 2-year-old that I have to take care of. Can't afford daycare. Rent is $2,500 where I live. Now I gotta find out how to pay off my lease early because there's no way that we could afford to live here. I don't even have a computer. They just locked me out of my computer. You know, I really thought that the culture at my job was great, the best that it's ever been. And for them to just lay me off, not even based off of performance, because my manager just shouted me out today, saying I'm doing a great job, and then fired me.
I got laid off today after 10 years at the most amazing company. I didn't think it would happen, but I kind of thought it would happen at some point. I got the email. Your role has been impacted. And today, let me tell you, has been a whirlwind of emotion. And I think that a lot of people, when they get laid off, they're sad, they're angry, it is what it is. To me, this is just another sign that God has always had my back and that there are more blessings coming. And I wasn't even gonna post this because there's a lot of haters out there I need to put my evil eye on. But I'm just so thankful. So if I've ever worked with you or this comes across your page and you were my client at one point, thank you. Drop in the comments a memory of working with me. And if you know of anyone that's hiring, holler at your girl. I think I'm going to document this journey. Okay, love y'all.
I got laid off today, and I was not going to make a video about this. I wasn't sure that I was going to publicly talk about this, but because we are in 2025 and there is this great layoff movement that is happening and people are going through this every single day, I wanted to come on here and say a couple of things. First things first, if you do not feel secure in your job and if you are afraid of being laid off, trust your discernment. Honey, be prepared. Last year, I recognized that my services were no longer needed within this company. So when the layoff word started being passed around in early 2025, I wholeheartedly believed that my job was going to be at the top of the list of being eliminated. And today, I found out that I was not wrong. So I'll say it again. Step one, if you feel even the teensiest bit of insecurity in that job, Believe it. Trust your gut and start preparing.
She's not wrong, but here's another angle of looking at it. If you still have a job and you're somebody who's watching this, maybe you've been laid off and you're looking for a job, or you still got that job and you're checking out some of these videos. That instinct that she's talking about, that should be something that comes in not while you are working, but when you're signing the contract. Because listen, guys, no job is permanent, all right? Even if the company tells you that we are looking for you to work with you over a long period of time, that is not accurate. That is never accurate. You could get fired or laid off from any job at any given time, okay? So always have that perspective in mind when you are someone who's in the corporate world. For me, as somebody who's more into like self-employment, entrepreneurship, and that type of thing, I believe that, people say entrepreneurship is risk taking and it's risky. You don't know where next month's money's going to come from and that kind of thing. But I think believing that you are going to have a job next week from your employer is mad crazy. Not in a bad way. I mean, it takes more bravery, in my perspective, to do that than to do this other thing.
How do you prepare? Get that resume together. Get that resume together. If you are able to hire yourself a career coach, do that also. Prepare yourself. If it's been a while since you've been in the job force and you've actually had to look for a job like myself, you need somebody to help teach you how to interview. Guess what? Cover letters, they're coming back. They're making a comeback. You got to learn how to write a cover letter. You got to learn how to write a cover letter, sis. Okay? You're going to need somebody to help teach you how to do that. You need a resume update. You need to learn how to write a cover letter. You need some career coaching. Okay? Also, looking at recruiting firms. Find what's out there. LinkedIn will not get you where you want to go. Google will not get you where you want to go. Know what industry that you want to work in and start there. And then find a recruiter or a consulting firm that can help you navigate that space. Get specific. Get your notebook out, get your journal out, and be specific in what you're looking for, because you cannot do it on your own. I'm still employed until June 12th, and I'm going to walk you guys through this journey and how I've prepared myself through it, how I prepared my family for it. And do we have everything together? No. However, I will say that mentally being prepared, that is the best place to start. Get your mind prepared. Your body will follow. Everything else will get there. Okay, you don't have to have it all together, but don't be caught off guard. Don't be caught off guard. That's my advice. If you are experiencing or work for one of these big companies and you are looking down the barrel of a layoff in 2025. We're going to talk more about this. I love you guys. Good night.
I think the hardest part of being laid off is really realizing that these people are just not your friends. I worked with these people for 2 years. I got laid off in August. It is now the end of January. I have not heard from anybody, like not one person. But what I can see is them looking at my LinkedIn, like stalking my LinkedIn. I could see you when you do that. But it's like you work with these people for years and they don't care about you. But then on the other hand, if you aren't social with them, then you're a bitch and you are also on the chopping block. So you can't win. No, I was not laid off due to any performance. Like, in fact, my performance was phenomenal. Like, I blew it out the water. I know my salary was a little bit higher than everyone else's, so I'm just going to chalk it up as that. But when you're either not personable enough or too personable, you will always be on the chopping block. Especially if you're a person of color, like I have to. So I got to overlaugh, overperform, go to these happy hours that I probably don't even want to go to because honestly, I don't like drinking at work no more. All for y'all to just forget about me. Like, I have to create fake friendships that take my energy from my real people for y'all really not to give two craps about me. Anyway, I'm interviewing today. I have 4 interviews this week. I've just done 1. I have 1 more today and then 2 more later on this week. Wish me luck, guys. I really need a job.
It's a tough reality check, isn't it? You spend years with these coworkers thinking you've built real connections, only to realize that once you're out of sight and out of mind. It makes you wonder, why do people in corporate environments act this way? Well, for many, it's a survival tactic. In a world where job security feels like a myth, people keep it professional, keep it surface level, and avoid getting too attached. It's easier to move on when you never got too close in the first place. And let's not forget that delicate balancing act she mentions, being just friendly enough but not too friendly, especially when you're navigating biases. It's no wonder people keep their guard up because at the end of the day, everyone's trying to stay off that chopping block. But hey, the best part of the story? She's already lining up new opportunities, proving that resilience and determination always find a way.
I got a random meeting on my calendar. I feel like, and there's a bunch of them on this other lady's calendar. I hope I'm not getting fired. I will die. Someone else is in there. I'm getting fired. Oh my God, I'm getting fired. Hello.
Good morning, Becker.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I asked, who I think you know, so join us for this call. She is our HR representative. We've got some updates we'd like to share with you this morning.
Okay.
So as you know, we have been working with to help us identify the best way forward for this last period of time. And while we originally believed that we would be integrating with, we've instead determined that it was a best for us to refocus the agency to an independent agency. And in doing so, we've initiated a buyback of it. Unfortunately, as you may know, the lack of growth and the decline in our client revenue has negatively impacted our business beyond what we can sustain. And it's forced us to make what are very difficult decisions to eliminate roles within the agency. And this includes the elimination of your role, making today your last day. Please know that it was a very difficult decision. You may be followed with contributions over the last couple of years, and we have much respect and gratitude for what you've done and what you've given. At this point, I will turn it over to you so she can take you through some of the next steps.
Email meeting up shortly. And, once you get the chance to review and look everything over, please let me know. And I'm happy to answer any and all questions you may have.
Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Heather. I wish you the best.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.
All right, I'm not going to lie, that one was a little bit harder to watch. And what's crazy is that she filmed this. I mean, man, can you imagine filming yourself getting fired? Obviously, she probably had no idea, but that's just how much we've integrated social media into our lives today. Wild. Let's check out the next video. But before we do, this is actually why I decided personally that I was not going to go into the corporate world. I interned in 2014 as worked in HR, and during that time it was wild because I saw what people had to go through recruitment and all of those things, and it was difficult. I was working underneath a supervisor, but even then I had to participate in some of the craziest things, which I don't know. I'm not saying that companies sometimes get into those difficult situations where they have to let you go, but these things don't prepare you. Like, even the TikToks don't prepare you for that kind of thing. It's just wild. And for me, it's always been do your own thing because, it just gives you that much more security. I trust myself way more than I trust any company.
Well, I'm sitting here on my porch trying to get some fresh air. I found out yesterday that I was one of approximately 150 people in my organization that got let go, laid off, restructuring, that's what we were told, whatever that means. The last 24 hours have been, actually 24 plus hours, I guess. It's now 28 hours, have been pretty tough. A lot of emotions. It's really the first time I think I've ever been laid off in my God knows how long I've been working. It seems like forever. 30 years, maybe. I don't know. Long time. 30 plus years. I think this is my first actual layoff. So, not performance based. You know, I'm eligible for rehire, so I guess that's a positive. But so now I'm out in the market at 53 years old. Don't know what's going to happen. Apparently, I do have some severance. Still waiting to find out the details on that. So at least I know I'm going to be carried for a little bit before I have to start dipping into any reserves or any other additional funds. Trying to avoid all that. So I think I'm going to try to keep track of this journey. I know there are a lot of people out there that are in the same boat with me or have been in the same boat. Job market's kind of crap right now, so I'm not looking forward to trying to find a new one. So here's post one of I don't know how many, but we'll see where it goes from here.
Sucks already. I just got laid off for basically the second time back to back. If you didn't know, I worked at Twitter and I got laid off when Elon Musk acquired the company. Since then, I've been working at a like a content strategy agency type place as a director of strategy, and I just got laid off yesterday. It's surreal because I definitely didn't want to go through another layoff. Being laid off the first time was one of the most traumatic events that have ever happened to me, especially because it happened so publicly. This time was obviously a little bit different, but the company lost some clients and now here I am without a job. It's hard not to reevaluate my life choices at this point. I work in tech, and so I'm wondering if that's still what I should be doing. It's hard to feel like secure in a job anymore. It feels like those days are over. So I don't know if I should be in tech anymore or working this corporate life. I love the security of having a stable job, but that hasn't been the case for quite some time for me because it's just been so unstable in the industry. So I'm considering other options, obviously. I had a wild idea. I think somebody on TikTok said, hey, become an ultrasound tech. That takes like 2 years of schooling and then you're in. And I was like, sounds good to me. But again, I also really enjoyed my job doing marketing, strategy, working in the digital space, working with tech. It is fast paced and it's very exciting. So I honestly don't know what to do. If you have any advice for me, I would love to friggin' hear it because I'm swirling. This all happened yesterday. So I've been like waffling between panic applying to places and just rotting on the couch. Would love something more constructive to do with my time. But if you have any advice, any tips, any job leads or connections, please let me know. I'm in the Bay Area, remote work, anything. I want to be busy. I'm somebody who likes to do things. So this is my plea to you, TikTok. Thank you so much.
All right, so man, being laid off 2 times is absolutely wild. So a lot of people are getting laid off in tech, especially women. I noticed that from watching a lot of these TikTok videos. Now, my wife tells me this all the time, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. She says that, people are different. Not everybody's built to be an entrepreneur. And she's the type of person who's not really into entrepreneurship. She's not that, she's more of a corporate type of person, but I've sort of brought her into my world a little bit. So here's what I'm trying to get at. There's so many opportunities that are out there for people for literally anyone today. There's so much that you could do, especially if you are in tech. You don't necessarily have to be looking for another job. I'm the type of person that you got to lay me off once, and I'm not doing that again. Okay. And when I say opportunities, I'm not necessarily talking about, remote work where you're working for some company somewhere. And I'm literally talking about creating your own business, starting your own thing from the ground up. There's so many ways to monetize, especially today with social media. So maybe if you're watching this and you're not sure what to do, you've been laid off, consider it. There's people making a ton of money on TikTok Creator Fund. Others are making good money on YouTube, on Facebook. literally so many ways to monetize your content and your knowledge. So those are some of the things you might want to pursue as someone who is, looking to diversify your income and also who is been laid off. Don't just wait until they call you in for that meeting. Do something about it now, especially if you still got a job to go to.